They never noticed when you began to pull away. One day you were there, laughing, listening, giving. Then something inside you broke, or maybe it awakened. You stopped trying to explain yourself. You stopped chasing the noise. And in that silence, something ancient began to move within you. You started to see the world for what it was, a carnival of masks, a theater of desperation. And you realized peace doesn't live there. You watched how people sell pieces of themselves for attention, how they trade truth for trends, confidence for applause. You saw the desperation in their smiles, the exhaustion behind their filtered lives. And in that moment, you knew, if you kept playing the game, you'd lose yourself too. By the time this video ends, you'll understand the quiet power that makes you untouchable. You'll see why the man who walks alone cannot be controlled, because some men don't seek the world's stage. They build empires in silence. The code of the lone wolf. You live by a rhythm that most can't hear. It's not rebellion. It's alignment. You've learned that solitude isn't emptiness. It's space. Space to think, to feel without performance, to build without applause. You've discovered that silence reveals more than noise ever could. When you're alone, the lies fade, the illusions die, and all that's left is you, unfiltered, unmasked, undeniable. That's why solitude frightens the masses. Because most men can't face themselves without distraction. You, on the other hand, became your own company, your own counsel, your own competition. You don't seek validation because you understand how fragile it is. One minute they love you. The next, they forget your name. But you remember who you are. You built a world inside your mind that doesn't depend on their approval. You move with calm precision, not to impress, but to progress. You operate by something quieter, an internal law, a code that doesn't need witnesses. Discipline over desire, purpose over pleasure, truth over comfort. You wake early, not to be seen, but to prepare. Your habits are armor, your silence, strategy, your presence, a message. And when you move through the world, you move differently, not slower, but heavier. Every step carries intent. Every silence holds a decision. You aren't driven by the need to be understood, because you know the ones who need to be understood are still looking for permission to exist. You've already given yourself that permission. That's what makes you dangerous. Not your strength, but your self-control. The weight of solitude. There's a price for walking alone. Don't ever forget that. You'll feel it in the nights that stretch too long, in the echo of your own thoughts when the world sleeps, in the moments where you wonder if maybe, just maybe, you were wrong to step away. That's the test, the loneliness, the hunger for connection that whispers, go back. But you won't, because you've tasted freedom, and you know its cost. Freedom demands isolation. Growth demands detachment. The silence that breaks weaker men has become your crucible. You've learned to sit with the ache until it becomes clarity, until the pain burns clean. You've felt the sting of being misunderstood, the weight of being forgotten, the cold distance of walking ahead while others remain behind. You've stood at the edge of that darkness, and instead of retreating, you listened. You listened until the noise of your own doubts faded, and what remained was focus. Others fear solitude because it exposes them. You embrace it because it reveals you. Every night spent alone forged something inside, something colder than fear, hotter than anger. calm that doesn't shake, even when everything else does. You've been tested by boredom, by loss, by rejection, and you came out sharper. Not because you didn't feel, but because you didn't run. The Sigma doesn't avoid pain. He studies it, dismantles it, turns it into instruction. You learn that peace isn't comfort. Peace is control. And that's a lesson few ever understand. When the noise fades, there's a moment every Sigma reaches, a breaking point that turns into breakthrough. It's not dramatic, it's quiet, almost invisible. One morning you wake up and realize you don't crave anything outside yourself anymore. Not their approval, not their validation, not even their understanding. You've stopped trying to prove you're different. You've simply become so. You walk through chaos with stillness in your chest. People sense it. That eerie calm, that unshakable presence. They can't define it, but they feel it. It's not arrogance, it's control. Not over others, over yourself. You've learned that power isn't loud, it's quiet precision. It's knowing you could speak, but choosing silence instead. It's doing what needs to be done, without needing anyone to notice. You're not cold. You're composed. You're not distant. You're selective. You're not emotionless. You're disciplined. And the moment you stop fighting to be seen, the world begins to notice anyway. That's the paradox of the Sigma. The less he tries to impress, the more impossible he is to ignore. Because the man who conquers himself doesn't need to conquer anyone else. He becomes a storm contained within skin. Steady, measured, unstoppable. When the noise fades and all distractions fall away, you realize the only thing left standing is the truth you built in solitude. The silent crown. You'll be misunderstood. You'll be judged. You'll be called detached, arrogant, heartless. Let them talk. A lion doesn't explain the silence before it strikes. The mountain doesn't apologize for its shadow. And you don't owe the world your noise. Let them chase approval. Let them drown in the applause. You stay still, unmoved. Because the storm only looks violent from the outside. Inside, there's calm. Focus, power. That's what you've become. A man who belongs nowhere, and therefore everywhere. The lonely truth about Sigma males. It's not that they reject the world. It's that they no longer need it to define them. You don't walk alone because you're lost. You walk alone because the path ahead wasn't meant for crowds. Gentlemen, now you understand why the Sigma is unreadable. Why control slips through anyone who tries to hold him. He's not chasing power. He's embodying it. He doesn't speak to convince. He speaks to declare. So keep moving. Keep building. Keep your silence sacred. Because in a world addicted to noise, your restraint is rebellion. Your calm is threat. Your solitude is sovereignty. And when they finally realize what you are, it'll be too late to imitate it. Because what you've built can't be copied. It wasn't born from approval. It was born from endurance, from nights alone, from battles no one saw but you. So stand tall in the silence. Let your life speak louder than your words. Walk through the chaos untouched and leave behind only presence, not noise. The world will never understand it, but it will always feel it.